Good Wednesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Wednesday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight. But before we go on and get into that, what do we even have to talk about tonight? Well, for the most part, it's mainly going to be obviously our current weather, what's currently going on throughout the state of South Carolina. We're also going to be talking about our weather for tonight, going into tomorrow. We're going to talk about our short term future from Friday going into the weekend, and then we're going to talk about the later weekend and after for our long term future. So, a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of it which may be a bit repetitive from what we've seen the past couple of nights, but it's because that's really the main thing that's going on right now throughout the state in South Carolina. But if you have not already, go and hit the like button. Right now, we have around a good 4 likes right now and 6 people that have tuned in. So if you are part of that group, go in and do so. Also, make sure you go and hit the subscribe button. We're at 706, trying to get to 894 away from that main goal of 800. We've been kind of just sitting at that goal, sitting at that main subscriber count of 706. So let's try and go in and get up off of that. And then also hit the share button, share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to, because not only does it help the channel grow, but it also helps get out better content to y'all as well. That's number two. Number three, it's Wednesday evening, so you know exactly what that means. We have officially made it halfway through the work week. Yes, we've officially made it through the work week, and so for the most part, it looks like that we definitely are going to finish off the week a lot more active than what we started, than when we started, and I'll show that right now. But starting off with current conditions, right now, currently, nothing right now is going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina. But if we go in and scroll our way out, see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., we do in fact have some rainfall and snowfall going on. Rainfall going on down here inside of North Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee. Also some snowfall going on over here inside of North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Rainfall also going on in Wisconsin as well. And then maybe even some rainfall up here inside of the Northeast as well. You also will have some snowfall and rainfall activity going on throughout the West. Snowfall going on throughout Montana, Idaho, Colorado, Utah, Wyoming. You know, all these areas, the Four Corners region. California getting some low elevation rain, high elevation snow. Arizona getting some snow. So a lot of these areas that have been kind of more in the active activity, more over there inside the West, are still receiving that active activity now. But if we go in and look at our cloud cover for the most part seems to be mostly active. Looks like that cloud cover activity goes on throughout the upstate, goes on throughout the Midlands, goes on throughout the PD and the Grand Strand areas, even parts of the low country as well. Cloud cover is ongoing. Now, we do have a little bit of a clear spot, mainly inside the low country area, but for the most part, mostly cloudy conditions. If we look at our cloud cover for the long-term future, or more of like the next 48 hours, going and push this forward, you can see cloud cover as you move all the way to 6 o'clock in the morning, going all the way to 7 o'clock in the morning. You can see nothing. It has changed. It's completely just still cloudy as you go all the way through. Even as you get into around 12 o'clock p.m. here, you see some cloud cover going on throughout mainly a good amount of the state. Now, the upstate, starting to see some clearing going on here and there, but for the most part, it's still relatively cloudy. Even as you go all the way to 4 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, 5 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, looks like cloud cover activity is now really just clearing in the upstate. All the other areas still mostly cloudy. Even as you go on all the way into around 9 o'clock p.m., 10 o'clock p.m., even to 11 to 12 o'clock in the morning, as you go into not tomorrow morning, but Friday morning. Seems like that we are still mostly cloudy, but clear spots remain. Won't last that long, though. Friday, 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 a.m. here, still seeing it. So it looks like that it's going to be a cloudy next 48 hours. Current temperatures right now, you have around a good 61 in Somerville, as well as 60 in Charleston, 60 in Beaufort, as well as 59 in Hilton Head Island, 61 in Georgetown, and 61 in Murray's Inlet, 59 in Myrtle Beach, and 62 in Conway, 62 in Orangeburg, as well as a good 63 in Sumter, 63 in Columbia, as well as a good 63 in Florence, 62 in Hartsville and Bennettsville, as well as 60 in Newbury, 61 in Greenwood, and 60 in Lawrence, 61 in Union, and 60 over there in Spartanburg, Gaffney, York, Rock Hill, Clemson, as well, 59 up there inside of Greenville. For our air quality, most of us are inside of the good category, but a couple of us, especially over there in the PD area and the Grand Strand area, are inside of a little moderate area that is not really unhealthy for sensitive groups yet, but it's right borderline in between good and unhealthy for sensitive groups. Now, in western parts of like Columbia, for example, in Lexington County, there is a little moderate there as well. Everybody else seems like the majority of us, though, are inside the good, so no air quality concerns for tonight. Now, as we go into our low temperatures for tonight, I mean, just overall, a huge upgrade from what we were seeing this weekend and exactly what we were talking about as this warm-up comes in. But 56 in Greenville, 56 in Spartanburg, Rock Hill, 57 in Columbia, 56 in Winsboro and Sumter, 56 in Florence, and 54 in Kingstree, Myrtle Beach, 53 in Georgetown, 54 also in Moncks Corner and Charleston, as well as 56 in Walterboro and Hilton Head Island, 56 also inside of Barnwell. High temperatures for tomorrow, 73 in Greenville, 74 inside of Spartanburg, as well as 74 in Rock Hill, 75 in Anderson, and 76 in Greenwood and Newbury, 79 in Columbia, and 77 in Camden and Sumter, 76 in Florence, and 76 in Kingstree, 78 in Orangeburg, and 76 in Moncks Corner, 69 in Charleston, and 70 in Hilton Head Island, 71 in Georgetown, even around a good 68 in Myrtle Beach. Now, what about your rainfall? For the most part, looks like that a good 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch definitely is possible throughout a good amount of the upstate. Even a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch potentially is possible as you go up there along that border of South Carolina and North Carolina, Georgia as well, being one of those areas. And I think, in my opinion, that this goes all the way past the 24-hour mark. This goes all the way from actually going kind of into tonight, going into, I believe, Friday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I think that this definitely has a more broader time span. And it looks like that you don't really see too much accumulation as you go throughout the next 36 hours or so. But one thing that I will say is that I do believe that a lot of this rainfall that we see here, I mean, it could potentially be more. Potentially be a little bit more. I'll explain what I'm talking about as we go more and more into the models. But I think that this area right here, might be a little bit too confined up inside the upstate. Now, if we go into our crazy score for tonight, we're at a 20. Why are we at a 20? Well, it's pretty obvious. Number one, it's cloudy outside. So, we were just talking about that, how it being cloudy outside. And how that will impact the crazy score going into that mild category, especially with the slightly breezy and cloudy conditions, because not only will it be cloudy, but it will be a bit breezy. Wind gusts 15 to 20 miles per hour. So, we saw wind gusts today get up to 30 miles per hour for some areas, especially in the Midlands. So, that's just what we're looking at right now for tonight as we still continues. But also, there also is a localized potential for patchy fog. Late night, early morning, higher chances in the upstate valley / the Piedmont areas. Visibility reduction possible in spots, but, once you get more towards the coast, that gets, you get mainly less prone to that fog cover activity. Now, if we go on into the SPC outlook, thunderstorms are not expected for tonight. Tomorrow, same thing. Friday, the entire state of South Carolina has a possibility for a thunderstorm on Friday. So, I don't know who saw thunderstorms on later or last weekend, excuse me. I believe we did not see a thunderstorm over here at my house, but I would not be shocked one bit if somebody, obviously in South Carolina, got a thunderstorm last week. And in fact, I probably can guarantee that at least somebody saw a thunderstorm throughout the state, and we probably will see another one again on Friday, February the 20th, 2026. Thunderstorms ingredients are there for the entire state. Now, if we go into fire weather, nothing there. Excessive rainfall, nothing there. So let's go and look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of your screen. Make sure that you go in and pay attention to that. That is very, very important to go in and pay attention to. But as we start off here at 9 o'clock p.m., you go in and push this forward, and you can see already, I mean, by 1 o'clock in the morning, I mean, you're seeing rainfall activity going on, relatively isolated and relatively light in nature, but that goes all the way to 1 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, and it picks up 4 o'clock in the morning here on Thursday, going all the way into 6 o'clock in the morning, going all the way into 7 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Tomorrow, you're still seeing that isolated to potentially even a bit moderate rainfall activity. I mean, it's possible. I see some yellows in there. Now, that goes on all the way through 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock, even to 11 o'clock. But what you're noticing is that a lot of that rainfall that we saw from that forecast from the National Weather Service only really has it for the upstate. Look in the Midlands, look in the Low Country, look over, a little bit inside the PD and the Grand Strand areas. A lot of that rainfall over there is going to kind of continue to move its way east. Now, will the upstate see rainfall? Yeah, most likely. But one of my questions that I would have is why would they have this map set up to where really it's only the upstate? And, I can even check real quick to make sure this is the right day. Yeah, Thursday, 7 a.m. to Friday at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I don't know if it's because of their confidence in it. I will say, though, as you go all the way from Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning to Saturday at 7 a.m., that increases. Even as you go from Saturday 7 a.m. to Sunday at 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you see a huge bump up. I mean, we're talking about maybe even a half an inch to an inch of rainfall in the low country between 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday to 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. And we'll look at the 3-day total precipitation chart. But just as we go throughout tomorrow morning going into Friday morning, just not as much as I would think. This goes all the way to Thursday, 2 o'clock p.m. I mean, we're still seeing a good amount of light precipitation going on throughout the state. This goes on all the way through 4 o'clock p.m., going all the way to 6 o'clock p.m. And then it finally tries to calm down as you get more into like the evening, going into the nighttime hours on Thursday. But will it still be isolated shower activity throughout the night? Absolutely. Maybe even some moderate shower activity for some isolated spots. Now, if we go on and just look at the total precipitation throughout the next like morning going into Friday morning, let's go on and see real quick. Well, we're gonna look at the total QPF, and it looks like as we wait for it, there we go, shows a good amount. I mean, 1/10 of an inch over here near Columbia, 2/10 of an inch going on near Sumter, 1/10 of an inch going on over here near Myrtle Beach, same thing where Charleston is. So, I mean, that's just stuff to look at and just to kind of see what's going on. I mean, this is obviously not going to be exactly what's going to happen, obviously. Even if we go into the NAM as well, NAM all the way Friday, 1 o'clock in the morning shows even a good amount as well. So, just something interesting to go in and look at. But if you continue even further, this goes all the way into Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, things definitely calm down a lot inside like the Midland areas and the upstate areas, especially as you go into like the afternoon time frame on Friday. But as you get back into that evening time frame, 7 o'clock p.m. right here, you start to continue to see some more activity maybe starting to go on again. So the moral of all of this for the short-term future is that definitely watch for some rainfall activity as you go into tomorrow. Have that rain gear with you if you want it. Even though, like I said, we're not going to be looking at, heavy downpours, thunderstorm activity, stuff like that. We're not going to be seeing all that, but we will be seeing that potential. We will be seeing that potential for some more rainfall activity. Same thing kind of how it was today. I mean, if you remember how it was today, if you were here this morning or last night, you remember that I said that the National Weather Service didn't really say too much in terms of accumulation, but I already saw a chat earlier. Somebody saw spotty showers today. So even though I believe that, their area wasn't really too much included inside of that precipitation risk. In fact, nobody was. So, we'll see. We will see what happens as we go into tomorrow. Time will tell. But what about the long-term future? We start off here at the 54-hour mark here at 7 o'clock p.m. on Friday. And if you go in and push this forward, you can see rainfall for the most part as you continue your way through here. Saturday, 7 o'clock in the morning. Even as you go all the way into 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, 1 o'clock p.m. I mean, you can see all this rainfall going on, especially inside the low country. I mean, I'm just seeing a whole bunch of trailing going on in the low country with just rainfall, and just more rainfall after rainfall, just over and over again. If you go all the way, here's 10 o'clock p.m. on Saturday. I mean, just continuing to see rainfall over and over again in the low country. And that's what's probably going to cause the low country to possibly get the highest totals out of everybody, out of all the regions, being the Midlands, the Midlands, the PD areas, the Grand Strand, and the upstate areas. Now, if you continue this forward even more, you can see this full-blown system going through. Here's 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. You move through, here's 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. And now, after that system has now moved out, and after that warm air has now tried to stay with us long enough, cold air and dry conditions will be staying as you get into like the weekend time frame. Now, how long will it be here? I mean, it seems to want to stay all the way through Monday, all the way through Tuesday potentially. It will try to move back out of here by the time we get into Wednesday of next week, that warm air. And with that warm air comes a time for some more moisture potentially as you get into next week, Wednesday and Thursday. Another bit of rainfall, another bit of heavy precipitation, another bit of just heavy shower activity is possible as we get into especially the later parts of next week. So that's something to look out for, but it kind of actually has a little bit of a flip. You can see it's now impacting a lot more of the upstate than it is the low country areas. In fact, I mean, has the low country even seen really, any accumulation from this system? Too far out to tell right now. Now, if you can go on all the way to, Saturday, Sunday, I mean, that system has now tried to move its way out, but this is way too far out. It says snowfall, it says sleet for, March 2nd. Not impossible if it's there, but I mean, like I said, almost 300 hours out, that's way too far out, way too far out. Go all the way into Wednesday the 4th, going into the 5th and then the 6th, dry conditions remain. So we definitely could have an active start as we go into early parts of March. Definitely an active start. Now, what's going on right now in terms of our temperatures? We're going to look right here at 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. That's where we're going to start this off at. And you can already see, I mean, even if we go to right now, I mean, we're already 10 to 15 degrees above average for a lot of us here inside of the state. You go all the way through into 7 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, going into 1 o'clock p.m. on Thursday. You see, again, another 15, 20-ish degrees above average as you go into Thursday. Going into Friday, 20 to 25 degrees above average. As you go into Friday morning, going into Friday afternoon a little bit. So what it looks like right now is that this warm-up will go all the way through Friday. It will last a little bit into Saturday as well. But then as that cold air moves its way through, we will easily start to see those temperatures drop, going all the way from 20 degrees above average to 20 degrees below average. And so that goes all the way into the weekend, especially as you go into Sunday. And look as you get into Sunday night going into Monday. You see temperatures, like I said, negative 20 degrees below average. And so that will continue through all the way until you get to around Wednesday. And then we start to see a little bit of a rebound as you go into next week. The mid portion of next week, we start to see some more near normal temperatures as you go into the middle parts of next week. You go into Thursday, you go into Friday, and then you see just kind of this resurgence of warm air trying to come back as you go into later, very, very far next week, going into Friday, going into Saturday. And so that goes all the way through. Even as you get into around Saturday, going into Sunday of next weekend, guess what? Another cold front potentially could be coming by. In fact, if this stands, we could potentially be seeing temperatures almost 30 degrees below average, 25 to 30 degrees below average. So it's possible. So like I said, we are not done with these cold temperatures. In fact, we are so not done with these cold temperatures that guess what else is probably coming back? If you probably guessed it already, but that is freezing temperatures. Freezing temperatures are coming back. Freezing temperatures are not done. I mean, here we are right here, Tuesday, 4 o'clock in the morning, Monday night going to Tuesday morning. Here's 7 o'clock in the morning, even colder. We're seeing 20s, we're seeing 25. I mean, I see 30s near the coastal areas. So we are not done with these freezing temperatures. Even as you go all the way into Wednesday, and then when we warm back up, we'll start to see, temperatures back up into like the 60s, 70s as well. Maybe even some more 80s as you go into next weekend. But that cold front just coming in really just knocks those warm temperatures down and does not really allow them to get really too far up there, especially for next weekend. Now, if we go in and look at the official forecast from the National Weather Service themselves, if we go and look at the total precipitation throughout the next 3 days or so, looks like, in terms of precipitation first, because I did say that I was going to show this, but this is Thursday, 7 o'clock in the morning to Sunday at 7 o'clock in the morning. And it shows a good amount of precipitation, quarter of an inch to a half an inch for the upstate, for the PD areas, half an inch to an inch over there for the Midlands, going over into the low country areas as well. So, really, what we're just watching for is what's just going to happen throughout with that training rainfall, I like to call it. Training rainfall, where rainfall just falls in some of the same areas over and over again. Now, it necessarily doesn't have to be heavy rainfall, but it could also be light rainfall. When we see light rainfall just trailing over an area, it really just accumulates, light to moderate. Don't really see anything flooding wise, and that's exactly the reason why we don't see any flooding risk as we go throughout the next 5 days. Because if that rainfall does train over it, it's probably going to be a bit too light. I mean, moderate rainfall, like I said, definitely is a possibility, but I think it's more on the lighter side than the heavier side. And then if we go on and look at our temperatures, I mean, we can go on and look at Friday, and then we can look at Sunday, we can look at Monday, and then we'll probably just stop there on Wednesday. But, I mean, here we go, starting off. Oh, it didn't work. Okay. Might have to go in and do, no, that's Saturday right there. Let me do Friday. And then let me do Sunday as well. Monday, actually. But starting off here, you can see around Friday, not tomorrow, obviously. But Friday, I mean, you're seeing temperatures up in the 80s, some 81, 82, maybe some 83, 84. Maxing out at a potential 85. It's all there. It's all possible. So, we'll see what happens, especially as we go into tomorrow, and when these high temperatures are refined a little bit more. But I think that we definitely are going to reach the 80s on Friday. Low country probably most likely will reach the 80s. Midlands, especially the southern Midlands, will reach the 80s. PD area will reach the 80s as well. Now, if you go all the way through, you can start to see that cool down really start to make its run for it as you get into, like this is Sunday right here. Sunday, you start to see those temperatures start to die down. Monday, you really start to see them start to die down. But then as you go into Wednesday of next week, you start to see those temperatures starting to kind of rise back up again. And even if we go and look at the low temperatures as well, look at the low temperatures for tomorrow night. I mean, we're seeing 60s, maybe even some mid 60s potentially in terms of low temperatures tomorrow night. And so that's, Thursday night, Friday night. And then look as we get into Monday night right here. Monday night temperatures down to the 20s. Maybe some in the low 20s as well. So we definitely, like I said, are not done. We just, with these freezing temperatures, just got to continue to prepare for them if you have not already. But that's all that I really have to say for the long-term forecast. So let's go on real quick and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with my Nana. She was here first tonight. We have a new number one person here for tonight. She says, hello, Jay. Beautiful day. Well, thank you so much for that weather update. Hello to you. Maya Lewis says, I pray that everyone had an enjoyable day. Well, I did. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Anthony also says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Mr. Chris also says, was 74 degrees here in Moncks Corner and felt comfortable. Currently at 64. My high temperature today was actually around 74. Around 74. So I actually tied yours, 73.9. So yeah, 74. Right now it's 61 at my house and it's cloudy outside right now. Then as we continue our way down, Thad says, good evening, Joseph, and the Weather 360 family. I trust all is well with you all. All is well with me. Thank you so much for that. And then also, Mr. Chris says, please remember to go hit the like button and the subscribe button if you have not already. Also, share with everyone that you know. It's free, helps the channel grow, and gets the information out to those who need it. He's absolutely correct. Right now, we have around a good, 13 people that have tuned in and only 7 likes. So if you are a part of that group of 6 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. That says, as always, another beautiful day here in San Antonio. We had clear skies and the temperature was in the mid 80s. Thank you so much for that weather update. Mr. Chris says, did have a few spotty showers here today. Well, thank you so much for that weather report for where you are. Charles says, greetings everyone, greetings to you. And then Maya Lewis says, in Georgetown it was a little cloudy, had a little shower. Mr. Chris says, really enjoyed this weather today. Opened up the windows and aired out the trailer. Loving this weather. Didn't even need to turn on the heat or the AC. Didn't even need to turn that on. Well, that's great to hear. Especially since that you are enjoying this weather. I know I definitely will be as well. You know, we're getting closer to that time to where AC is going to have to be turned on except and not heat. So, we'll see. We'll see when that time comes around to where, AC stays on and heat won't have to come back on. That probably will be like a little bit later, but I won't be, would not be surprised for sure if a lot of people started turning on their ACs as you go later into like the next couple of days or so. So would not be shocked at all. Maya Lewis says our high in Georgetown was 71, currently at 62. And then Mr. Chris says, yes, I'm truly enjoying this. Go in and vote inside the poll inside the chat. So far, 100% says yes. The question is, are you already noticing a warming trend since last weekend? 100% says yes. So seems like everybody is so far. But now that that is out of the way, let's go in and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go in and give them their weather forecast for them. We're going to start off with San Antonio first. Low temperatures tonight at 64, high temperatures tomorrow at around 85, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 62. Rainfall, not expected. But one thing that I will say is patchy fog definitely will be an area of concern, not only for tonight, but tomorrow and potentially even the day after. So patchy fog will definitely be a big area to watch for as you get all the way through into like the next couple of days, mainly being during the nighttime hours and the early morning time frame. Severe weather, not the type that you might be thinking about, but fire weather. You have a 40 to a 69 probability of fire weather within 12 miles of a given point on Saturday, February the 21st. So do watch out for that. Do not burn anything on Saturday if you do not have to. Avoid that if you can. And I also will say no excessive rainfall for you either. For your future, looks like for the most part that you will actually cool down, but you will warm back up as you go into next week. Wednesday, of next week being 84. So, like I said, you will continue to kind of be in the 80s for like tomorrow and for Friday. But as you go into like Saturday, 79, Sunday 67, Monday 66. So you will cool down a little bit as you go into like the later weekend, maybe even the early week. But as you get more and more into the week, you will warm back up to where you're supposed to be. Now, as you go back all the way or go forward all the way into Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 54, high temperatures tomorrow at 71, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around a good 60. There is a slight chance of rainfall tonight, chance of rainfall tomorrow, and a slight chance of rainfall tomorrow night as well. That will come with no severe weather and no excessive rainfall. In fact, nothing really going on there. Now, there is stuff obviously going on in terms of rainfall. In fact, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all of those days you have a chance of rainfall. Mainly seems like during the daytime. Most likely, Friday 60%, Saturday 60%, Sunday 50%, but then you have like 20% on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night being 30%. So your highest chances of rainfall seem to be more during the day. And in terms of your temperatures will be dropping. Your temperatures will be dropping. You'll have highs near like 47 on Monday, 50 on Tuesday, 53 on Sunday. So you will drop back down in terms of temperatures. Now, what about for Philadelphia? You have low temperatures tonight at 37, high temperatures tomorrow at 45, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 38. There is a chance of light rain tonight. Light rain is likely tomorrow, and then rain is expected tomorrow night. Looks like for the most part, that patchy fog also would be an issue, not only tonight, but tomorrow morning and tomorrow night as well. So make sure that you're paying attention for that. For your future, it looks like that you will also continue to see a rain chance as you go through Friday, and then maybe even a snow chance as you go into Sunday and Sunday night. So something to watch for there, around a 60% chance, and then a 50% chance Sunday night, dropping to a 30% chance on Monday. For your temperatures, it looks like that you will actually be kind of staying stagnant. You'll drop down a little bit. As you go into the weekend, you'll be like 50, but then as you go into like next week, you'll drop down. Now, in terms of Duncan, Oklahoma being the fourth area, low temperatures tonight at 51, high temperatures tomorrow at 70, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 36, precipitation not expected. You are under a red flag warning. You might be asking why. Well, not really for tonight. It's really for tomorrow. Tomorrow, you have a critical fire weather concern as you go into tomorrow. That's a level 2 out of 3, not a level 1 out of 3, which is what you were in today. But now you're in a level 2 out of 3, so it's going to be even worse tomorrow. The fire conditions are even going to be worse tomorrow than what they were today in Duncan. So you're going to have to make sure that you do not burn anything if you don't have to. In fact, not only that, but usually when there comes a red flag warning, there comes a threat for winds, and there will be winds as high as 30, 35 miles per hour. It's possible as you go into tomorrow. So, like I said, do not burn anything if you don't have to. Definitely not recommended at all. Not recommended. For your future, though, looks like that you will be actually kind of warming up a little bit. I mean, you'll cool down as you go into like this weekend, but then you'll warm up as you get into like Tuesday, Wednesday, for example. And then in terms of your precipitation right now, not expected. I mean, as you go throughout the next 7 days, so you're not really looking for anything there. And so I think that is about all that I really have to say throughout these 4 areas. So what's going on right now throughout the entire U.S., not only just for South Carolina, but also for the 4 areas? Well, right now it seems like continuation of gusty winds and low relative humidity will, I think there was a grammatical error with what they just typed. But continuation of gusty winds and low relative humidity will additional periods, I think they meant with additional periods of critical fire weather to the southern plains Thursday and Friday. So that fire weather condition will continue Thursday, Friday. Another Pacific storm will continue gusty winds and heavy snow over the western mountains into Thursday. Severe thunderstorms are also possible across parts of the middle Mississippi Valley into the lower Ohio valleys Thursday afternoon into the early evening time frames. And that's something else that I want to go on and, talk about just for a little bit. But, if you know anybody in the Illinois area, Indiana, western Ohio, even northern Kentucky, and even other parts of Kentucky as well, make sure that they know severe weather is definitely there. Even the Boot Hill, Missouri, going on to southeastern parts of Missouri, and St. Louis is also included in there. Make sure that they know severe weather is definitely an area of concern. Not only will there be a threat for damaging winds and hail, but there is a tornado threat. But that's all that I have to say there. So I think that's about it that I can see here. Ms. Chris says, wow, I can't believe that's going to be almost 90 degrees in Texas. Almost 90, whenever they hit 90, that, we'll get there. But for right now, it looks like that they will be just continuing to be in like that high 80 spots or so. Not quite to the 90s yet. Not quite there yet. Let's go and look at the top fan of the night for tonight. I think YouTube's a bit glitched out, so I'm going to have to do this manually. But let me go in and check real quick. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, actually was pretty close. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So Mr. Chris won for tonight. Number 1 in the chat. Maya is at number 2. And then Thad is at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Also, being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber and you don't show up, you won't be a part of the top fan group. Also, go on and hit be active inside the chat, because if you're not active, you will not be at the top, most likely. And then also you have to be here early as well, because that also helps out sometimes. Depends, but sometimes it can. Make sure that you go and hit the like button if you have not already either. Right now we have around a good 17 people that have tuned in and only 7 likes. So if you're a part of the 10 that have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. Hit the subscribe button if you have not already. 706, trying to get to 800. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to, because it helps us grow. That's all that I have to say, though. Make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave. If you're new, I'll be back tomorrow morning with your Thursday evening forecast update, and then tomorrow evening with your Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow morning with your Thursday morning forecast update, and then I'll be back tomorrow evening with your Thursday evening forecast update with the drought monitor as well. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday.